All right, boys and girls, here with Code to talk about the playoffs. So, for those of you just joining us, Code and I are doing this because he has a bye. So, for this week and next week, we've always done an interview with the two teams that have a bye. I know you're used to seeing Code and I, so it's a little bit different. You kind of think it's a normal week. It is a normal week, but it's not a normal week. It's playoff week
No.
in the first round of the playoffs, but implications. I need to change my team name because I keep saying implications. Implications for all 12 teams in the league this week. Massive ones for a lot of teams, and we'll kind of talk about what that looks like. But we kind of need to know what the bracket looks like. So before we talk about much else, let's pass it off to past tense me, as I spoke with Alan a little earlier to discuss kind of who he wanted to pick. So let's pan to that, and we'll be back in a second. All right, boys and girls, we're here to do the recording with Alan to do the pick announcement, see who he is going to go with. So I am in the Discord room now. He should be joining. All right, there he is. Alan, how are you? Let's get you on the screen and do the pick announcement. This is not, there we go. There, Alan. Alan?
Hey, yeah, how are you doing?
Good. I thought you were Cam.
No. I mean, I got third place, so I get to pick the teams, right?
Yeah, but Alan got third place, not Cam.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're Cam. We know you as Cam. Where is the other guy?
Something wrong on your end?
I thought you got the Astro stuff on and everything too.
You got H-Town, Astros, Rockets. Look, it's me. All right. So here's how it's gonna go. I'll play Cam, and then I guess we'll let Flynn and Unicorn face off. How's that?
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah. So that's that. See ya.
All right, well, I'll see you, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's get Alan actually here. I thought that was just a fun little bit to do with how much we all believe that he is actually Alan. Alan, do we have the real Alan this time? Cam tried to make a pick for you. I thought we were calling Alan. Did we get the real Alan in here? As we are, I know, low on time. You've got a meeting, from what I understand.
Yeah, that's who you want me to pick? Yeah, him. That's the one. Okay. Okay.
I guess he's getting a phone call.
Yeah, that one. Okay, yeah, we'll go then. Okay, see you later, bye. Yo!
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
Doing good. What's going on, man?
Not much. You got
I'm
the
alive.
Yeah. Things are going good.
Yeah, we're in the playoffs, you know. I told everyone I'd win my division, and I did, so I'm a man of my word.
Yeah. A lot of controversy. The fact that I think it's 8th most points for, but you won your division, so you're getting a pick. What do you want to tell the haters?
I mean, I don't know. I keep hating from the bottom, I guess.
So I know you're short on time, so thank you. Do we want to preview this at all or tease it at all, or you just want to come out and say who you're going with, or how do we want to do this thing?
Well, I just received some good info from the person who actually runs my team. He, gave me a lot of good info on who to pick as far as like matchups, points scored, who I have the best shot of beating. So I think we're going to go with Flynn.
So, win like Flynn, you guys are, in a sense, old rivals as well. Year 1, both of you in the toilet bowl together. Year 2, both kind of moving up in the world. But year 3 here, you guys are in the playoffs. I'm trying to pull up the numbers specifically for how many, what your games against each other look like, just for fun. Where are we at? Here we are. This thing is so confusing. You are 2-2 all time against Flynn. When you go back to the first ever playoffs that you guys played against each other, he beat you in the toilet bowl to kind of get the 101. Then you ended up making that trade and got Bijan in the end, and I think you offloaded Daniel Jones or whatever that was. But back again now in the bracket at the top. Did you expect him to make it here? Are you nervous about the game at all? Are you confident? Like, where's your head at?
Can't really say I had any expectations for who's going to make it. I feel like, as evidenced by my league activity, I'm a pretty insularly focused,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. You know, I didn't really know who was on his roster until I checked this morning. So, but once you do the math, look at the matchup, look at all the rosters, I think it just made the most sense to go with Flynn. I think it gives me the best shot to win. So that's what we're going to go with.
Yeah, his team's been streaky as well. One week we've got 200 points, one week not so much, but you're in the same boat. How do you think that you end that flux and just have a good game this week?
Oh, I need CJ Stroud to actually throw touchdowns. I think that's been something that has kind of plagued me all year. That and lack of depth. But you know what? You don't need a lot of depth in the playoffs, and that was the goal the whole time. As long as you get to the playoffs with the best version of your roster that you have, you can. I know I can beat anybody. So. I think I'm going to fare well as long as I can just stay healthy. We took a big L today with the Pickens injury, so
Yep.
uh, I hit the depth. But overall, we're relatively healthy. Last year this time I had zero quarterbacks, but this year I have two healthy ones, and so I think I have a good a shot as anybody to win this thing. But look, it all starts with Flynn. So
Yeah. And I heard the Pickens injury was like more out of caution than anything else, which is nice. I'm sure it's reassuring for you. But he's going to Guantanamo Bay this week, so we'll have to see how it ends up going. So
yeah.
that'll do it. Any final thoughts? Anything else you have?
No, no. I think that'll be it. This has been a fun year. I know I'm pretty quiet in the chat, but I just want to let everyone know, me and Cameron, we're in this thing. Whoever's running the team week by week, doesn't really matter. We're going to make the playoffs.
That's good. All right, man. Good talking to you. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, that does it. So let's get back with code and discuss. So, kind of the expectation, I think, for Allen to pick Flynn. Like, that's what we were all thinking. But again, I feel like we've seen Flynn's ceiling. I don't want to say be higher than Cam or Unicorn, right? But Flynn has blown the lid off more times than they have. At least maybe that's what I can remember. Maybe that's out of bias, out of loving Flynn. Not that I don't love either of those two.
Anyone else in the league, yeah.
Yeah. But I wonder I wonder how it's going to go. Like, part of me can kind of foresee the future, and it's like 165 to 170 between Unicorn and Cam, and then it's like 200 to 98 for the other side. But the question is, who gets 98 and who gets 200? What are your thoughts, kind of getting this revealed to us, and now kind of knowing what the future is for the playoffs?
I mean, I thought the bit at the start was awesome. That was just perfect. That was everything we wanted in this league.
Shout out to Cam and Alan for both being super willing to do that and ready to do that, and like the coordination between that was a little tricky, but we made it happen. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, and also it's good to see and hear from Alan, because I know everyone in the chat's been wondering where he's been at, and he's been around. Clearly, wouldn't have made the playoffs without being around. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, like, either way, the DoD people would have to face each other in this playoff bracket. So for Alan to pick who he thought was, I guess, the way to make it forward. I mean, I know I personally don't want to face anybody. Like, I mean, I feel like the top six that made the playoffs, like, any one of them could win. I know that's generally kind of how fantasy works, anyways. But it's like in some leagues you got your like top 3 or 4 that are like, oh,
yeah,
there's
you're
no
like clear
way.
favorite. Yeah.
Right. Where it's like, I feel like this top 6. I mean, shit. All it takes for Flynn is for Bowers to catch 10 balls and score a touchdown, and that could literally be the difference. And so I don't know. I mean, I'm just happy that I'm kind of. This is the first year that I've gotten the bye, I believe. So like, I'm glad that all I have to do is win one and I'm in, kind of thing. Whereas before I've had to claw my way. From the 6th to 4th seed. Right. Yeah. So, and I mean, even if I lose in this one, I still have a chance at the 3rd place game. But obviously, the goal is the ship.
Yeah. Lifetime stats, as I mentioned on that recording, 2-2 between Allen and Flynn. Do you think that that holds any weight? I mean, I like the story of they've both risen at the same time, right? Like both ended the first season in the toilet bowl. There was optimism for Flynn, but he didn't. He ended in the toilet bowl again, whereas Allen was in the playoffs. Now they're both in playoffs. Um, you know,
Yeah.
maybe a super underrated. I mean, I don't know that they're rivals necessarily, right? But it's kind of cool to see two teams on that same path kind of colliding, the exact same way that we see the division of death teams colliding yet again. Lifetime stats between those two teams, by the way, for Unicorn and Cam, 5-2 in favor of Unicorn. But you can go ahead and say that as much as you want to. One of those L's he took was in the championship in the first year. So Cam ultimately worse win-loss, better success at the same time. And that's another fun storyline. Like I know that past games don't matter. I know that none of this matters. I know that it doesn't matter what happened 2 years ago. But Cam and Unicorn have been fighting it out for so long, and now they're going to have to do it again. And it's insane to think that like this is where we're at yet again. That we've got these two Titans, and one of them won't even make it to the quarterfinal. The semifinals is shocking. Any thoughts on that matchup and what that looks like?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I kind of wish that I could say that it's like, oh, it's not just a coin flip at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, it is just a coin flip as to who wins. I mean, we can set our best lineups as we see fit, but if someone gets concussed first play of the game and doesn't get you any points, it's like, how would you know? You know that's supposed to happen. So
Yeah.
it's all just up to chance at the end of the day. But I mean, man, I don't know. I think Cam's team could go all the way this year. Unicorn's team could go all the way this year. I mean, really, it's like, let's get past this week first, see who K-Migs wants to play, see who I get stuck with, and then just kind of, figure it out from there. I'm still like sticking with the thought process of any of these top six could win it all. Like if Morgan snuck into the playoffs, maybe not. If Chase snuck in, maybe not. Just based off of like I guess some of the superstar potential on those rosters, but it's like everybody in the playoffs has like a stud that could go off for 30 plus, pretty much.
Do you kind of immediately, we're looking ahead already, and we've still got more to talk about for this week. We haven't touched on the extra pick bracket. We haven't touched on the toilet bowl. Do you kind of anticipate having to play the winner of Cam Unicorn, or do you think there's a world that Allen or like, what do you think is more likely? Do you think you're going to play the winner of Cam and Unicorn because they're the better team, or do you think that there's a chance that one of the Allen or Flynn puts up 200 some points and gives K-Migs pause in terms of picking them and maybe goes a different direction? Like, what are your expectations?
I mean, I guess it'd be reasonable to assume I'd be playing the winner between the inaugurals and the pandas, just because Brownout would probably not want to see one of those guys again, considering he just lost at inaugurals this week after Chase put up like 48, and I think he lost to Unicorn last week too. So I mean, but realistically, it's like I don't really know. We're just gonna do the best we can, set the best lineup we can, and see what happens.
What are your thoughts on the third seed ability to be able to pick their opponent? Like, do you kind of feel that's not fair? It's a cool advantage. Does it really matter in the end of things? I know that's been controversial, and Allen's gotten that. I don't know if it's privilege is the right word, right? But Allen's gotten that ability the last 2 years, just for funsies. Not commissioner politics here or anything like that. But what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'll absolutely throw the commissioner politics into it because I feel like in this particular league setup and everything, divisions are just the way to go, and that's how we're doing it. But I mean, with that said, like realignment will change some things. I think the problem is that the DoD. The DoD didn't start out being the DoD, like the first year it was a good division, but then like Division of Death it became, and it's like it just, I don't know, you look at like the NFC South, it's like, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, New Orleans, and Carolina have all been like mediocre for years, and yet they still get a home field advantage in the playoffs. So,
Right.
I mean, I honestly don't really think that being able to pick matters. Maybe this year, like in the past years, being able to pick the opponent might have mattered because you might have had like a team just sneak into the playoffs last minute or whatever. But it's like with how distinct the contenders are, and then the people that have embraced the full rebuild, like you and Nate. I feel like all six have a very legitimate shot to win it all, and that's why I think like this particular year it doesn't really matter. That's why I've kind of held the same belief of I'm just gonna set the best lineup and see what happens because any one of these six teams could win it all, and wouldn't be shocked if I wouldn't be shocked if Allen wins it all. You know what I mean? That's just kind of where it's at.
Well, let's take a look at the rest of the bracket here on the fancy smancy website, all nice and pretty and updated for you guys as well. So we've talked a lot about the grand prize bracket and what we're kind of expecting potentially there, but let's talk a bit more about the extra pick bracket. If there is much to discuss, is this just, I mean, if I asked, pretend Morgan doesn't put up 247. If I asked you this a week ago, is it just a shoe-in for Chase? And now that Morgan's broken the league record in a meaningless game, does that change it? Do you have more optimism that this turns into a 2-1 either way? We've seen both these teams again be super streaky. Chase does well one week and not so much the next. Morgan again setting the points record, and probably also set the lowest points record for teams that are actually competing, and lost some games that probably he shouldn't have. But how do you see this matchup between these two going? Any predictions there?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably lean towards Chase, but I mean, Chase has been dealing with a ton of injuries. And then, like, he's just got some guys that are just so boom or bust. But then it's like the same thing for Morgan. It's really whoever shows up. Because, if Morgan can put up another 200 points next 2 weeks, that'd be great because he definitely has some, young talent on the roster. And I mean, I don't know if Ken Walker's still dealing with injury, if Charbonnet is going to continue to get playing time.
Right.
I'll have to see what happens with the Niners running backs. But I mean, if any Niners running back that's starting, you want to throw him in the lineup somewhere. So, I mean, if Morgan can keep putting up those points, I'm not going to be shocked to see, either win. But I kind of agree with you in that these teams are just so streaky that it's really whoever catches fire.
Yeah. And then lastly, the toilet bowl bracket. It feels like there's one game to watch per week. And no offense, Nate, we love you, and I love what you're doing in terms of just embracing that rebuild. But whoever Nate's playing, don't even worry about that game. That's a free win probably, right? So in week 15, the C-Words versus the Implications is the game to watch. Week 16, it's the Implications versus Am I Spooky? And then what I think a lot of people think will determine 101, the C-Words versus Am I Spooky in week 17 to kind of finish us out there. Lots of different possibilities, but I think it's kind of a unanimous, out of everything we've talked about so far in terms of, do you think this could happen? Do you think that could happen? The easily most cemented thing for me is that my cup runneth over is 104. Is that fair to say, or do you feel differently?
I mean, no, I'm not going to fault you for saying that, but I will say that it's kind of important to note that Nate and Rick have the deepest benches. And I know that everyone says depth doesn't matter, but it's like, one guy falls out to injury and here and there, and it's like, I know for the Implications, they don't have a lot of guys on the bench, and neither do Am I Spooky. So, one injury could mean the difference between, getting 5 extra points in the lineup, and it's like at that point, that could very well mean you lose the matchup, which then could mean you're lower in the, bracket race, I suppose, for the 101. But yeah, I mean, I think it's, I don't know, I'd probably, if I had to guess, off the top of my head, just flat out predict it, it's like I think I'd lean Rick winning the 101 with Spooky going 102, Implications 103, and then Nate 104.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's the popular answer. I don't think there's a wrong answer, but I think that is the right answer, right? Like, that's what it feels like to me. I've got a feeling it's going to be very similar. I do think that Spooky has shown that they can go ahead and put up some massive points. Implications, since all those trades, has not shown that, much to my dismay. It doesn't really matter anymore since I traded that pick away. But I still want to go get 101, or I guess 01, especially with the conditions and some of the trades that I have. But it definitely we haven't seen that lid come off of the implications the way that we have for Am I Spooky. And that's the only one that's fuzzy to me is can Spooky and Seaward switch places, because I think that Spooky could have a good week. It's just a matter of having the exact right time, and that right time is week 17. So
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you look at Spooky's roster. I know I kind of shouted him out the past couple of shorts. Like he's had great weeks, pretty consistently. Not that it matters a ton because he was already out of the playoff race to begin with, but it's like he's got talented vets on that roster that are probably going to be great fantasy producers for the next 2-3 years, regardless of whether he's wanting to push the chips in if he wins the 101 or just continue to accumulate talent and just kind of play for the future. Because I just keep saying it. Zoinks ran that team to the ground, and for him to kind of come in and like do what he's been doing is pretty cool. I know it's all mostly luck, but I mean he's set up pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah, plenty of different directions that you can go in terms of sticking with the rebuild or doing the 1 year turn like Chase and
right. Yeah, exactly.
There. Final thoughts? Anything else you want to talk about? Go over before everything kicks off here this week.
I'm glad I get a break.
Yeah.
I'm glad I get a fucking break. All right.
You have a bye in our other league too, right?
Yeah, and Anonymous. Yeah, I don't know. Everything's just went right in Anonymous. I don't know why. Sometimes it's your year, sometimes it's not. That's just kind of the way it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like it hasn't been my year for a while, even though last year, fucking Unicorn flaming me this morning. Always fun. Unicorn. I thought
there's always next year.
Nice. Yeah, there's always 6 years from now for me. We'll see how it goes. That'll do it for us. Good luck in your matchups this week, boys. Hope everybody's team stays healthy, and we have some exciting games and more to talk about next week. So next week, talking to K Migs, we'll see who they pick to play in the next round as well. I would anticipate that video being out probably Wednesday as well. Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll see. I know that they are out of town over the weekend, so I would imagine Rick, you're getting back into place. But yeah, should be interesting, should be fun. Good luck again, and we'll see you guys soon.